Have you heard about China's Beidou navigation satellite system? Official media has hailed it as a miraculous system, claiming it surpasses the US's GPS in capability. But many have commented that its use seems more akin to playing a game of hide and seek. It's as if you never seem to know where it will lead you. There was an instance where a car owner using a Chinese satellite navigation software, while attempting to merge onto a highway, received a sudden suggestion from the software to get out and ask for directions.
欢迎使用高德地图，您已进入重庆市。由于地势复杂，接下来由百度地图为您导航。
百度地图为您导航，前方右转有个本地人，请下车为您下路。本次导航结束，再见。
Could this be the new era of interactive navigation? This caused confusion for the driver, who was unsure of how to react in such a situation. In another case, the AutoNavi map service mistakenly renamed Shanlong Lake Road in Hefei Anhui Province as Huangquan Road, a name traditionally associated with the path to the underworld in Chinese mythology. Netizens joke, is this suggesting that using Beidou could lead one to the afterlife? Recently, the positioning error of the Beidou system has reportedly been as wide as 2 traffic lanes at times. Consider the potential military implications of this. A target could be missed by a significant margin. Many see this issue as an ironic twist on the concept of precision strike. To use the Beidou navigation, one must install specific software, which involves a series of authentications, including identity and social circle verification. Additionally, users must ensure they are not considered class enemies and demonstrate loyalty to the government and the country. It is argued that this process sounds less like using a navigation app and more like applying to join the Chinese Communist Party. Despite its mediocre performance in civilian applications, the Beidou navigation satellite system is considered essential for the Chinese military. Some sources have suggested that during last year's visit of Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan, when the US and China engaged in an aerospace confrontation, Beidou exposed several vulnerabilities. There's speculation about whether Beidou could be significantly outperformed by Elon Musk's Starlink in the event of a real conflict, indeed a lingering uncertainty. Comparing the Beidou system with America's latest AI technologies like ChatGPT, it seems Beidou lacks both concept and technology. According to professionals, if future wars were to rely solely on Beidou, the outcome would be highly uncertain. For the Beidou navigation system to reach the level of the US GPS, it would almost require starting from scratch. Given the current economic constraints in China, this presents a substantial challenge. Both the public and the military's dissatisfaction with Beidou is apparent, and its early development stages were marked by significant expenses and blunders. Over 20 years ago, Chinese experts observing the American GPS and Russian GLONASS thought these systems only tell you where you are, but not where others are. These are too outdated, so they decided to develop a more advanced system, Beidou. The first generation of Beidou was designed with a concept resembling science fiction, an active positioning mode. Ground equipment sends signals to the satellite, which responds immediately, revealing your location. Not only does it inform the user of their position, but it also reports in real time to the command center. This functionality is also available in new Huawei smartphones. Others can know your location and receive messages you send, using this first generation of Beidou. However, after Beidou's first generation was developed, launched, and tested, a significant issue emerged for military use. When the Chinese military utilized this technology, they quickly discovered a major flaw. In modern warfare, sending a "here I am" signal to satellites was intercepted by the US military even before the satellite received it, leading to immediate missile targeting. Professionals comment on this, stating that this wasn't positioning, but rather a suicide mission. As a result, the first generation of Beidou was deemed a failure by the military, wasting hundreds of millions of yuan. The project team reinvested heavily in developing the second and third generations of Beidou, deciding to follow the passive system approach used by the US and Russia. China once proudly claimed that its second and third generations of the Beidou system were superior to the US GPS. However, during Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan on August 1st last year, the Beidou system seemed to be completely ineffective, likely due to electronic jamming signals from US aircraft carriers and destroyers. This left Chinese fighter jets unable to locate Pelosi's plane and exposed the military's reliance on Beidou, as well as their communication methods, to the US military. Following Pelosi's departure, China conducted military exercises around Taiwan, planning to launch 70 missiles but only firing 11, some of which deviated into Japan's exclusive economic zone. This was rumored to be due to interference with the Beidou system. On September 14th, Northwestern Polytechnical University in China suffered a cyber attack suspected to be from the U.S. National Security Agency, targeting the Chang'e rocket torpedo project. This incident also highlighted the potential inadequacy of the Beidou system in navigation. During Pelosi's visit in August, the situation inadvertently turned into a high-tech electronic war, causing trouble for China's Beidou system, with its navigation signal reception being obstructed. President Xi Jinping urgently called for the development of new technologies. Commentators suspect that Xi Jinping fears that the Chinese military's missiles and torpedoes have become ineffective. In the second half of 2022, the Chinese military deployed a large number of undersea geomagnetic navigation devices in the Sea of Japan, Taiwan Strait, and East China Sea, all aiming to defeat U.S. aircraft carriers underwater. However, these devices were reportedly destroyed one by the U.S. and Japanese navies by the end of last year and early this year. These incidents resulted in the loss of tens of millions of dollars invested by Xi Jinping. Russia, as a critical observer, has made sharp comments, questioning the technical level of Beidou and mocking China for boasting. Xi Jinping reacted to these comments by harshly criticizing the responsible military arms companies and the General Equipment Department. The widely promoted Beidou system faced interference in real combat situations. The solutions proposed to overcome this deficiency were cracked by the US and Japan. The Chinese military, still reliant on many aspects of American technology, appeared ineffective against the US military. China has learned technology from the US, but often only superficially. The US military's meticulous approach is evident in their attention to detail. For instance, reports show they would thoroughly investigate even a single parachute failure in 20,000 jumps. This deep research and continuous improvement in technical details is something the Chinese military struggles to match. Despite China's development of the Beidou positioning system, its overall technological application and attention to detail appear lacking, failing to overtake the US experts' comment that the reliability of the Beidou system in a real war would be severely tested, potentially leading to Chinese missiles misfiring. In February this year, a Chinese balloon was shot down in the waters off North and South Carolina. The captured equipment might have allowed the US military to access the communication methods, codes, and protocols of Chinese Beidou and spy satellites. China's already launched satellites cannot modify their encryption parameters, potentially exposing all existing data to US scrutiny. From supply chains to satellite technology and communication protocols, it is suspected the system China has built over the years might be on the brink of collapse. If the US military indeed possesses the Chinese signal encoding methods and related equipment, they could decrypt and analyze Chinese communication data from the past decade. Such an intelligence breakthrough could reveal China's potential role in various global events. If the US can confirm Chinese participation or direction in specific terrorist activities, the Iran-Iraq War, the Islamic Revolution, ISIS, and other events through these decrypted data, it would be a significant intelligence discovery. The situation for China worsens as the United States Space Force has now set its sights on the Chinese government. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, Central Command, and European African Command have all been established. In Northeast Asia, the U.S. military has set up space forces in South Korea. Japan has also formed a space operations group to assist the U.S. military. The primary mission of these forces is to collect intelligence on the satellite and space systems, as well as ground infrastructure of the so-called Axis of Evil countries, and to disrupt them if necessary. The U.S. aims to fully operate the new Silent Barker space observation satellites by 2026. Deployed on September 10th, they were launched by the massive Space God rocket. The satellites are in a geosynchronous orbit at approximately 36,000 kilometers altitude. Their purpose is to monitor the satellite activities of hostile nations. The U.S. Space Force has also conducted a series of exercises to enhance its combat capabilities in space. These include the Black Sky exercise simulating orbital attacks, the Red Sky exercise involving space warfare, and the Blue Sky exercise focusing on cyber warfare. In the event of war, the U.S. is prepared to attack, hack, and disrupt the satellites of hostile nations. If the Chinese government's satellite system is interfered with or controlled, its nuclear weapons and missile guidance systems will be unable to accurately locate targets. Furthermore, the U.S.'s Black Sky satellite interference operations could directly control all Chinese television stations, broadcasting messages that Xi Jinping has fled, similar to the effect when Gorbachev announced the Communist Party as illegal. The U.S. is currently rehearsing this. Despite the Chinese government's propaganda about missions to the Moon and Mars, they lack the capability. In contrast, the US openly demonstrates its capacity to subdue the Chinese government in such areas. In the event of a conflict between China and the US can quickly destroy or control the Chinese government's satellite system, including the Beidou satellites. This would lead to the failure of the Chinese government's firewall and the disappearance of its opinion suppression. Therefore, the Chinese government's investment in the Beidou system and spy satellites is essentially a waste of money and space, likely to be eventually destroyed by the US military. The US has consistently given Xi Jinping chances, but he continues to be active. The entire satellite system of the Chinese government has poor security. The whole satellite communication system, including programs of the CCTV, local television stations, and even secret meetings of the military and local governments, if transmitted via satellite, must pass through the Satellite Transmission Center. This center, managed and controlled by mostly non-technical personnel, relies on imported equipment due to a lack of expertise. The system uses the Windows operating system, with Lenovo computers and Inspur servers, making it highly vulnerable to leaks. For example, on May 14th last year, an internal confidential meeting of the Guangdong military region was leaked online, involving over 50 minutes of recording, exposing severe information security vulnerabilities. Considering such security flaws, one can't help but question the Chinese government's wider military security and defensive capabilities. In the face of potential international conflicts, especially compared to more technologically advanced countries like the US, these information security weaknesses could lead to severe consequences. This puts the Chinese government's defensive and responsive capabilities to a rigorous test.